No, no, no. My name is Rosemarie Salvania, and we are the last reporter. And our report is all about the continuation of the chapter 1 to 5 of Philippine Electrical Code. So, chapter 6, Special Equipment, article, Electric Science and Lighting, and Online Lighting. Scope, the installation of conductors and equipment for electrical sign and online outline lighting. So, what is electric discharging lighting? Utilizes fluorescent lamps. High intensity discharge lamps are neon tubbing. Neon tubbing is a manufactured into shapes that forms letters, parts of letters, skeleton tubbing, outline lighting, other decorative elements of art, and filled with various insert gases. So skeleton is it's a neon tubbing that itself the light or outlines lighting and not attached to an enclosed. So listing, electric signs and online lighting, fixed, mobile or portable, shall be listed installed in conformance with that listing unless otherwise approved by special permission. So letter A, field installed skeleton tubbing shall not be required to be listed where installed in conformance with this code. Outline lighting shall not be required to be listed as a system when it consists of lighting fixtures wired in according with the chapter 3. So markings, sign and outline lighting system, we have four. What the four is manufacturer names, a trademark, input voltage, current rating. So in branch circuit, we have three. So letter A is required branch circuit. This is provided with at least one outlet in an accessible location, shall be supplied by a branch circuit rated at least 20 amperes that supplies no other load. So B, branch circuits that supply signs and outline lighting system containing incandescent and fluorescent from of form of illumination shall be rated not to exceed 20 amperes. So neon tubbing installed shall be rated in excess 30 amperes. Computed load shall be computed at a minimum 1200 volt amperes. So C, wiring methods, supply enclosures as pull boxes, metal poles used to support sign. So this connects. Letter A, within sight of the sign. The disconnecting means shall be within sign of the sign that it controls. And the within sight of the controller is the following shall apply for sign operated by electromechanical controllers. B. Control system rate. Control switch rating shall be rated for controlling transformers and electronic power and shall be controlling inductive loads or have a current rating not less than twice the current rating of the transformer. So groundings, flexible metal conduit length shall be permitted as a bonding means in lengths not exceeding 30 meters. Shall small metal parts, the parts not exceeding 50 mm in any dimensions and not likely to be energized and spaced at least 19 mm from neon tubbing shall not require bonding. Letter C, metallic conduit shall be installed separate and remote space at least 40 mm from the system for 100 Hz or less than 45 mm or 100 Hz and over. So bonding conductor shall be made of copper and not smaller than 2.0 mm squared. Signs and fountains shall have all metal parts and equipment grounding in conductors bonded. Enclosures. A. Strength. Enclosure shall have ample structure strength and rigidity. Materials. Enclosure shall constructed of metal or shall be listed. Minimum thickness of enclosures metal shall be at least 0.5 mm thick. Shall be at least 0.40 mm thick. Protection of metal. Metal parts of equipments shall be protected from corrosion. Location in vehicles 4,200 mm above, areas accessible to vehicles unless protected from physical damage. Location in pedestrians, neon tubing accessible to pedestrians other that dry location portable sign and shall be protected from physical damage also. Adjacent to combustible materials shall not be subjected to temperature in excess of 90 degrees Celsius, 50 mm spacing to the material. Wet location shall be waterproof and have drain holes. Uh, Drain hole shall not be larger than 13 mm or that smaller than 6.0 mm. So in every low point or isolated section of the equipment shall have at least one drain hole. In ground fault circuit interrupter shall be an integral part of the attachment plug or shall be located in the power supply cord within 300 mm. So ballast transformers and electronic power supplies. Letter A, accessibility. Located where accessible shall be securely fastened in place. Wet location, weatherproof type or the outdoor type. In working space, at least 900 mm high, 900 meter wide by depth shall be provided. Attic and Sophic locations permitted to be located provided there is an exit door at least 900 mm by 600 mm, a passageway with a walkway of 300 mm wide. So cranes and hosts, contact conductors, letter A, locating or guarding contact conductors. The runway contact conductor shall be guarded and bridge contact conductors shall be located or guarded in a manner that person cannot inadvertently touch energized carrying parts. Contact wires, the extreme limit of displacements of the wire is within less than 40 mm. Supports along roundways shall be supported at intervals not exceeding 6,000 mm. And letter D, supports on bridge. Bridge wire contact conductor shall keep at least 65 mm apart and where the span exceed 25-meter insulating saddles shall be placed at interval not exceeding 15 mm. So E, support for rigid conductors shall be carried on the insulating support space at interval of not more than 80 times the vertical dimension of the conductor, but in no case greater than 4,500 mm and space apart sufficiently to give a clear electrical separation of conductors or adjacent collectors of not less than 25 mm. So, this is the table of 6.10.2.4 demand factors of cranes and hosts. Makikita naman natin to sa book ng PEC. So, ayan pa. Yung conductor size, alam naman natin kung paano mag-ano ng conductor. Kunwari, 25 yung 25 and then yung type natin ng conductor is PHW. So, pasok tayo dito sa 32. So, the size of the conductor size is the 3.5. Pwede na yun. Ganun. Tapos, ayun nga, bakit nga ba natin kailangan mag-apply ng demand factor? So, nag-a-apply tayo ng demand factors kapag nagre-resize ng overcurrent protective device natin or ng conductor natin sa feeders and services or the hose and cranes para ginagawa natin ito para ma-prevent yung pag-oversize ng conductor. So, Article 6.4, manufactured wiring systems that are assembled in the process of manufacture and cannot be inspected at the building site without damage or destruction to the assembly. Construction, letter A, cables or conduit types. So these are the conduit types. Cables or shall be listed type AC cable containing nominal 600 volts, 800 millimeters squared to 3.5 millimeters squared. Insulated, ginagamit dito is insulated copper conductors equivalent in size to grounded conductor. So conduit shall be listed flexible metal conduit or liquid tight flexible conduit, insulated copper conductors with a bare copper equipment grounding. Inflexible cord, this is a suitable for hard usage, shall be permitted as part of a listed factory made assembly not exceeding 1,800 millimeters in length. B. Marketing. Each section shall be marked to identify the type of cable, flexible cord, or conduit. Ayan nga. Kailangan nga daw is nakamark to para mabilis ma-identify yung type ng cable or the flexible conduit. Letter C. Receptacles and connectors shall be of the locking type, uniquely polarized and identified for the purpose and should be appropriate system. Letter D, other component parts shall be listed for the appropriate system. Letter E, securing and supporting shall be in accordance with the applicable cable. Luminaries, luminar, luminaires, installation of listed electric discharge luminaires close the connector openings. So the special requirements for particular location. Letter A, hazardous location. All equipment that operates in a hazardous in 5.1. Number one is equipment used in location because the presence of a flammable gases or vapors. Equipment should use in location because of the combustible dust. 3. Equipment used in locations because of the presence of easily ignitable fibers flying. Combustible materials, where the crane's host or monorail host operates over rapidly combustible. So in wiring method, contact conductors are not qualified to be enclosed in raised ways. Exposed and conductors, short lengths of open conductors at resistors, collectors, and other equipment are not required to enclose in raised ways. Letter C, where flexible connection are necessarily, flexible stranded conductor shall be used, shall be in a flexible metal conduit, liquid tight flexible metal conduit. Yan, mga ganon. Letter D, where the multi-conductor cable is used with a suspended push button station, the station shall be supported in some satisfactory manner that protects the electric conductors against strain. What are the types of conductors? Letter A, exposed of external heat or connected to resistors. Exposed to heat or connected to the resistor shall have a flame resistant outer covering or be covered with flame resistant type individually as a group. So contact conductors, along runways, crane bridge, and monorails shall be permitted to be bare and shall be copper, aluminum, steel, or other alloys or combination thereof in the form of hard drawn wires, teeth, angels. Letter C, flexibility is required. The flexible cord or cable shall be permitted to be closed, and where necessary, cable, wheels, or take-up devices shall be used. Letter D, class 1, class 2, class 3 circuits installed in accordance with Article 7.25 shall be permitted. Rating and size of conductors, ampacity, the allowable ampacities of conductors, secondary resistor conductors, where the secondary resistor is separated from the controller, the minimum size of the conductors between controller resistor shall be calculated by multiplying the motor secondary current by appropriate factor. Letter C, minimum size. Conductors external to motors and controls shall not be smaller than. D. Contact conductors. Contact wires shall have a ampacity not less than that required by Table 6.10.2.4 D for 75 degrees Celsius, yung kanina kong pinakita na table. And no case shall they be smaller than the following. Calculation of motor load. We have two motors and the first one is single motors. For one motors, 100% of motor nameplate full load ampere rating shall be used. In multiple motors naman, on a single crane or hose, for is the minimum capacity of the power supply. Conductors shall be nameplate full load ampere rating of the largest motor or a group motors. Multiple cranes are hosts or common conductors. May supply by a common conductor system compute the motor minimum capacity for each crane as defined. F. Other loads, additional loads such as heating, lighting, and air conditioning shall be provided for by application for the appropriate sections of this code. Yan. Ito naman yung table 6.10.2.4a. Same lang siya dun sa pinakita ko kanina. Yun nga, kunwari nga yung size na, yung sinabi kanina dito, 75 na sama. Ito, 75 degrees Celsius ng wire. Ito, kunwari, THW yung types niya. Tapos yun nga yung sinabi ko na 25 in 30 minutes. So, pasok na dyan ang 2.0 na conductors. Feeders, runaway conductor. A single feeder is that the runway supplier conductors and main contact conductors of a crane or monocrane shall be protected by an overcurrent devices that shall not be greater than. For more than one feeder circuit, where more than one feeder circuit is installed to supply runway conductors, each feeder circuit shall be sizing and protected in a compliance with 6.10.1a na table. Branch circuit, short circuit, and ground fault protection. Fuse or circuit breaker rating, crane hose and monocrane hose motor branch circuit shall be provided by fuses or inverse time circuit breakers that have a rating in accordance. Taps in a multiple motors where two or more motors are connected to the same branch circuit. Each tap conductor to an individual motor shall have an capacity not less than 1/3 of the branch circuit. And kailangan yung motor is protected from overload according to 6.10.5.3. In control circuits naman is originate on the load side of the branch circuit protective device. Each tap and piece of equipment shall be protected in accordance with 4.30.6.2. Daming table, no? Brake coils, taps without separate overcurrent protection shall be permitted to brake coils. In swimming pools, fountains, and similar locations, giant luminaire, a lighting fixture intended for installation in a wall of a pool or fountain in a niche that is sealed against the entry of the pool. Wet luminaire, a lighting fixture intended for installation in a firming shell mounted in a pool or fountain structure, with the fixture will be completely surrounded by the water. Itong GFCI naman, shall be self-contained unit, circuit breaker types, receptacle types, or other approved types. So, grounding, the following equipment shall be grounded. Number 1, through wall lighting assemblies and underwater luminaires, such as lighting fixtures other than those low voltage system listed for the application without a grounding conductor. Number 2, all electrical equipment located within 1,500 mm of the inside wall of the specified body of water. All electrical equipment associated with the recirculation system of the specified body of water. Number 4, junction boxes. Number 5, transformer enclosures. Ground fault circuit interrupters. Number 7, Panel bursts that are not part of the service equipment and the supply any electrical equipment associated with the specified body of water. Cord and plug connected equipment, letter A length, for other than storable pools, the flexible core shall not be exceed 900 in length. In equipment grounding naman, it shall be made of copper not smaller than 3.5 squared. So overhead conductor clearances, a communication system shall be permitted at a height or of not less than 3,000 above. Letter B, other clearance parameters. So this is the table of 6.80.1.8. Ayan yung clearance parameters. Meron siyang insulated supplies and other supplies are service drop conductors, voltage to ground. Ayan, yung mga table. Underground wiring locations. Wiring shall not be permitted under the pool or within area exceeding 1,500 horizontally from the inside wall of the pool unless the wiring is necessarily for the pool equipment. And the wiring shall be permitted only if installed in RMC, IMC, or non-metallic raceway, which is corrosion resistant. So, this is the table naman of 6.80.1.10. Yan, yung wiring method, minimum burial. Ayan, o rigid metal conduit. So, ang ano niya is 150 Ayan, makikita naman. Receptacles, circulation and sanitation system, location, receptacles for water pump motors or for other loads directly related to the circulation and sanitation system shall be located at least 3,000 from the inside wall of the pool or not less than 1,500 if the conditions of the following are met. Number 1, consists of a single receptacle, employ a locking configuration, are of the group grounding type, and have a GFCI protection. Other receptacles location shall be not less than 3,000 from the inside walls of the pool. Dwelling units, a 230 volts 15 to 20 ampere receptacles on a general purpose shall be located not less than 3,000 and not more than 6,000. GFCI protection naman is all 15 and 20 amperes single phase to 230 volts receptacles located within 6,000 of the inside walls of a pool shall be of GFCI type. Also receptacle that supply pool pump motors and that are the rated 15 to 20 or 20 amperes nga, and 125 volts to 250 volts, and this is a single phase. Luminaires, lighting outlets, and ceiling suspended fans. Letter A, new outdoor installation clearance shall be 1,500 horizontally from the pool and the height is not less than 3,600 above the minimum water level of the pool. Letter B, indoor clearances shall be protected by GFCIs and of the height not less than 2,300 So number 1, totally enclosed luminaires. 2 ceiling suspended fans identified for use beneath ceiling structures. Existing installation. Luminaires located less than 1,500 or less horizontally from the pool shall have a height of 1,500 rigidly attached and GFCI protection. So switching devices shall be located at least 1,500 from the pool and separated by a solid fence, wall, or permanent barriers. Junction boxes and other enclosures. A junction boxes are a enclosure connected to a conduit, a transformer, a GFCI, or of a similar device that extends directly to a forming shell or founting bracket of a luminaire shall meet the following requirements. In construction, be equipped with a treated entries or hubs or a non-metallic hub. Be compromise of copper, brass, suitable plastic or other approved corrosion resistant material. Number three, be provided with electrical continuity between every connected metal conduit and the grounding terminals by means of copper, brass, or other approved corrosion resistant metal that is integral with the box. B, installation. In vertical spacing naman is kailangan ang ano niya is not less than 100 mm and measured from the inside of the bottom of the box above the ground level or pool deck or not less than 200 mm above of the maximum pool water level and whichever provides the greater elevation. Horizontal spacing. The junction box shall be located not less than 1,200 mm from the inside of the wall unless separated from the pool by a solid fence, wall, or other permanent barrier. Number three, flush deck box. If used on a lighting system operating at 15 volts or less than, a flush deck should be permitted if the both of the following apply. One is unapproved pot potting compound is used to fill the box to prevent moistures, and the flush deck's box is located not less than 1,200 mm from the inside wall of the pool. So, solar photovoltaic systems, alternating current, a environmentally protected unit consisting of solar cells, optics, inverters, and other components exclusive of tracker designed to generate AC power than when exposed sunlight. Array, a mechanically integrated assembly of modules or panels with a support structure and foundation, tracker, and other components as required to form a direct current power conducting unit. Bapular, a photovoltaic array that has two outputs, each having opposite polarity and to a common reference point or center tap. Blocking diode, a blocking diode used to block reverse flow of a current into photovoltaic photovoltaic source circuit. Building integrated photovoltaics integrated into the outer surface or structure of a building and serve as the outer protective surface of the building. Charge controller, equipment that controls DC voltage or DC current are both used to charge a battery. Diversion charge controller, equipment that regulates the charging process of a battery by diverting power from energy storage to AC or the AC loads or to an interconnected utility service. Hybrid system, a system comprised of multiple power sources. These power sources may include photovoltaic, wind, microhydro generators, engine driven generators, and others, but do not conclude do not include electrical production and distribution network system. Energy storage systems such as battery do not constitute a power source for the purpose of the definition. An interactive system is operates in a parallel with or may deliver power to an electrical production and distribution network for the purpose of this definition an energy storage subsystem of a solar photovoltaic system such as battery is not other than electrical production sources. Inverter that is used to change voltage level or waveform or both electrical energy or power conversion system is a device that changes DC input to an AC output. Inverters may also function as battery chargers that use alternating current from other source and convert it into direct current for charging batteries. Module, a complete environmentally protected unit consisting of solar cells, optics, and other components exclusive of tracker, designed to generate DC power when exposed to sunlight. In panel is a collection of modules mechanically fastened together, wired and designed to provide a field installable unit. Solar cell, the basic photovoltaic device that generates electricity when exposed to sunlight, to light, to light. Solar photovoltaic system, the total components to subsystem that is combination converts solar energy into electrical energy suitable for connection to utilization load. Standalone system that supplies power independently of an electrical production and distribution network. This is the ano yan, the solar photovoltaic system. Ayan. Ito yung blocking diodes, and then fuses, solar cells, modules, panel, area photovoltaic power system. Ayan, andyan lahat dyan. Ground fault protection. Roof-mounted DC photovoltaic areas located on dwellings shall be provided with DC ground fault protection to reduce the fire hazards. Unbalanced interconnections, single phase inverters for photovoltaic system and AC modules in interactive solar photovoltaic system shall not be connected to three-phase power systems unless the interconnected system is designed so that the significant unbalanced voltage cannot result. In three-phase naman is AC modules in interactive system shall have all phases automatically deorganized upon lost or unbalanced voltage in one or more phases unless the interconnected system is designed so that the significant unbalanced voltage will not result also. Markings. Module shall be marked with identification of terminal loads, terminal or leads as to polarity, maximum overcurrent, device rating for module protection, and with the following ratings. One is open circuit voltage, operating voltage, maximum permissible system voltage, operating current, short circuit current, maximum power. Letter B, alternating current photovoltaic modules shall be marked with identification of a terminal or leads and with the identification of the following rating: nominal operating AC voltage, nominal operating AC frequency, maximum AC current, maximum AC current or power, maximum overcurrent device rating for AC module protection, and then C, direct current photovoltaic power source shall be provided by the installer at an accessible location at the disconnecting means for this power source is the operating current, operating voltage, maximum system voltage, short circuit current. Storage batteries, A operating voltage or dwelling units shall have the cell connected to operate at less than 50 volts nominal, shall have no more than 24 2-volt cells in connected series or 48 volts nominal. In battery naman na non-conductive cases or conductive tracks, shall not use conductive cases or shall not be installed in conductive cases and used to support the cases shall be permitted where no rock material is located within 150 mm of the tops of the non-conductive cases. In battery systems or more than 48 volts, the battery shall be permitted to operate when the underground. The following conditions are met. The DC and AC load circuits shall be solidly grounded. All main undergrounded battery input-output circuit conductors shall be provided with a switch connect disconnects and overcurrent protection. A ground fault detector and indicator shall be installed to monitor for ground faults in the battery bank. So charge control shall be provided to control the charging process of the battery, and charge control is not required where the design of the photovoltaic source circuit is matched to the voltage rating and charge requirements of the interconnected batteries, and the maximum charger current multiplied by 1 hour only must be less than 3% of the rated battery capacity in ampere per hour. So this is my reference. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. My name is Emmanuel P. Rodriquez, and I'm here to present to you the Philippine Electrical Code 1, Chapter 7, subtitled Special Conditions. So, before we start discussing the Chapter 7 of the PEC 1, let's have a recap about the PEC 1. So, the Philippine Electrical Code 2017 is utilized throughout the country as the foundation for protecting people, buildings, and their contents against hazards associated with the use of electricity. So basically, the PEC is used to protect people and properties from the dangers associated with electricity, like the electrical shock or burn, overloading of the electricity, arcing, and most of all, the start of the fire. So, the code's principal goal is to define the basic material, quality, and electrical work requirements for the safe use of electricity for lighting, heat, power, communications, signaling, and other uses. So the Philippine Electrical Code 2017 is based on the 2017 National Electrical Code. So when we think about Philippine Electrical Code, the keyword is always safety. Since, as I've said earlier, PEC is used to protect people and properties from the dangers associated with electricity. So let's discuss about the chapter 7. Emergency systems, test and maintenance. A. Conduct or witness test. The authority having jurisdiction shall conduct or witness a test of the complete system upon installation and periodically afterward. So, yung mga authority na sinasabi dito is the PEE, which is the Professional Engineers, the REE, which is Registered Electrical Engineers, and the RME, which is the Registered Master Electricians. So, next is B, tested periodically. Systems shall be tested periodically on a schedule acceptable to the authority having jurisdiction to ensure the system are maintained in proper operating condition. C. Battery systems and maintenance, where battery systems or unit equipments are involved, including batteries used for starting, control, or ignition and auxiliary engines, the authority having jurisdiction shall require periodic maintenance. Since it is an emergency system, the safety of the occupants of the facility depends on it. So it needs to be tested and maintained manually to have a peak performance. Next is written record. A written record shall be kept of such test and maintenance. Bakit kailangan magkaroon ng written record? Para ma-keep track nila yung mga failures and repairs for the past testings and maintenance. Ito kasing isa sa mga magandang paraan para ma-maintain yung health pati yung safety mismo. Ma-maintain yung health ng equipment tas ma-maintain rin yung performance neto. So next is testing under load. Means for testing all emergency lighting and power systems during maximum anticipated load condition shall be provided. Kaya natin ginagawa yan load testing para makita natin yung behavior ng isang equipment under normal o kaya mga peak load conditions. So next is circuit wiring. A. Wiring. Two or more emergency circuits supplied by the same source shall be permitted in the same raceway, cable, box, or cabinet. Wiring from an emergency source shall be kept entirely independent of all other wirings unless permitted in the following. So ito yung mga basis para maging independent yung wiring ng isang emergency source. Unang-una, wiring from the normal power source located in transfer equipment enclosure. Pangalawa, wiring supplied from two sources in exit or emergency luminaries. Pangatlo is wiring from two sources in a common junction box for emergency luminaries. Pang-apat naman is wiring containing only the branch circuit supplying a single unit equipment. Ang bagal. So, B. Wiring, designing, and location shall be designed and located so as to minimize the hazard that might cause failure due to flooding, firing, icing, vandalism, and other adverse conditions. So kailangan natin i-consider kung saan ilalagay itong mga wiring design na 'to. Kasi ito yung mga hazards na puwedeng mangyari dun sa isang design kung hindi mo 'to nilocate ng maayos. Kunwari, sa flooding pa lang, eh, kapag kapag, kapag binaha yung yung wiring mo, napakadelikado nun. Tapos maapektuhan pa yung resistance ng conduit, lalong-lalo na kasi lahat ng mga nandito, yung mga adverse conditions na nandito is may kinalaman siya mismo sa temperature ng isang conduit. So next is C. Fire protection. Listed are the additional requirements for building with 1,000 persons or more in in buildings above 23 meters in height with the following occupancies: assembly, educational, residential, detention and correctional, business, and mercantile. Yung mercantile is parang naka-synonym lang siya as a commercial, ibig sabihin. Feeder circuit wiring shall meet one of the following conditions. First, be installed in spaces or areas that are fully protected and with an approved automatic fire suppression system. Number two, listed electrical circuit protective system with minimum of 1 hour fire rating. Number three, protected by a listed thermal barrier system for the electrical system components. Number four, protected by a fire-rated assembly listed to achieve a fire rating of 1 hour. Number five, be embedded in not less than 50 millimeters concrete. Number six is a cable listed to maintain circuit integrity for not less than 1 hour. So next, okay, sources of power. So ito naman yung mga kailangang gamitin na na power source sa emergency systems. A. Storage battery shall be suitable rating and capacity to supply and maintain the load for a minimum period of 1.5 hours without the voltage to the load falling 87.5 for the normal. So this is the quality or the standards that we have to follow when it comes to selecting a power source for emergency systems. So B, generator set. Oh, wait. Oh, no. Okay. B, generator set. Number one, prime mover driven. A time delay feature permitting a 15-minute setting shall be provided to avoid retransfer in case of short time re-establishment of the normal source. 2. Internal combustion as prime mover. An on-site fuel supply shall be provided sufficient for not less than 2 hours full demand operation of the system. Number three, battery power and dampers. Battery shall be equipped with an automatic charging means independent of the generator set, and the damper used for ventilation of the genset must also be connected to the emergency system. Number four, auxiliary power supply. Generator sets that require more than 10 seconds to develop power shall be permitted if an auxiliary power supply energizes the emergency system until the generator can pick up the load. So next slide. So number five is outdoor generator sets. An additional disconnecting means is not required in the building or structure it supplies if it has a disconnecting means within sight or located in the house of the genset. So letter C is the separate service where acceptable to AHJ as suitable for emergency source. Additional service is permitted provided it has a separate service drop or service lateral and service conductors sufficiently remote electrically and physically from any other service conductors. Letter D is the unit equipment. Shall be provided illumination consisting of the following. Number one, a rechargeable battery. Number two, a battery charging means. Number three, one or more lamps mounted, one or more lamps mounted on the equipment. Number four, a, a relaying device arranged to energize the lamp automatically upon failure of equipment. For the ground fault protection of the equipment for emergency systems, the alternate source for emergency system to ha- shall not be required to have ground fault protection of equipment with automatic disconnecting means. Legally required standby systems. Systems required and so class as legally required standby by municipal, state, federal, or other codes or by any governmental agency having jurisdiction. These systems are intended to automatically supply power to selected loads other than those classed as emergency systems in the event of failure of the normal source. Circuit wiring. The legally required standby system wiring shall be permitted to occupy the same raceway, cables, boxes, and cabinets with other general wiring. Sources of power legally required standby systems shall be available within the time required for the application but not to exceed 60 seconds. The same provision with di ko na rin nilagay kasi dito yung ano, yung about sa mga storage battery generator set and the separate service and unit equipment. Dahil magkaparehas lang sila do sa ano, about sa emergency systems. Ground fault protection of equipment. The alternate source for legally required standby system shall not be required to have a ground fault protection of equipment. So, same rin siya about din dun sa emergency systems. Okay. Optional standby systems. Those systems intended to supply power to public or private facilities or property, where life safety does not depend on the performance of the system. Optional standby systems are intended to supply on-site generated power to selected loads either automatically or manually. Circuit wiring. The optional standby system wiring shall be permitted to occupy the same raceways, cables, boxes, and cabinets with other general wiring. The outdoor generator sets, an optional disconnecting means, is not required in the building or structure it supplies if it has a disconnecting means within sight or located in the house of the genset. So to have full details about my report by the PEC1, since distributing the whole material is illegal. So next reporter is discussing about the chapter 8 of the Philippine Electrical Code 1.
Good evening, everyone. I'm John Kennedy Sanchez, and I'm going to report Chapter 8, Communication System. So, Article 8.0, Communication Circuits, Scope. This article covers the telephone, telegraph, outside wiring for fire alarm, and burglar alarm. So, this burglar alarm ito yung para sa mga magnanakaw, and similar central station systems and telephone system not connected to a central station system but using similar types of equipment, methods of installation, and maintenance. So next, 8 point, Article 8.1.18, installation of equipment. Equipment electrically connected to a telecommunications network shall be listed installation of equipment. Next, 8.1.21, access to electrical equipment behind panels designed to allow access. This article, access to electrical equipment shall not be denied by an accumulation of wires and cables that prevents the removal of panels, including suspended ceiling panels. Next, 8.1.24, mechanical execution of work. Communication circuits and equipment shall be installed in a neat and workmanlike manner. Cables installed exposed on the surface of ceilings and sidewalls shall be supported by the building's structure in such a manner that the cable will not damage by normal building use. Next, wires and cable outside and entering buildings. Article overhead, this article, overhead communication wires and cables, overhead communication wires and cables entering buildings. For A, on poles and span, where communication wires and cables and electric light or power conductors are supported by the same pole or run parallel to each other in span. Next, for it consists of four. Uh, First, relative location, the communication, attachment to cross arms, climbing space, and clearance. Next, above roofs, communication wires and cables shall have the vertical clearance of not less than 2,500 millimeter from all points of roofs above which they pass. Article 8.0.24 ay point 2.4, underground circuits entering buildings. Underground communication wires and cables enter buildings, for A, with electric power or power conductors. um, Underground communication wires and cables in a raceway, handhole, enclosure, or manhole. So yan, with electric light or power conductors, underground communication wires and cables in a raceway handhole, enclosure, or manhole containing electric light, power, non-power limited for fire alarm. Circuit conductors shall be in a section separated from such conductors by means of brick concrete or tile partitions. So next, underground block distribution, where the entire street circuit is run underground and the circuit within the block is placed so as to be free from the likelihood of accidental contact with electric light or power circuit of over 300 volts to ground. Next, next slide. 8.0.2.7 circuits requiring primary protectors. So circuits that require primary protectors as provided in section 8.0.3.1 shall comply with the following. So circuits, first, letter A, insulation wires and cables, communication wires and cables without a metallic shield running from the last outdoor support to the primary protector shall be listed in accordance with 805.173. Next, letter B on buildings. Um, Communication to the primary protector shall be listed in accordance with 805.50 ampere shall be separated at least 100 millimeter from electric light or power conductors. Next, circuit requiring next, entering buildings, letter C, where a primary protector is installed inside the building, the communication wires and cables shall enter the building either through a non-combustible, non-absorbent insulating bashing or through a metal raceway. Next, lighting conductors. This article where the practicable a separation of at least 1,800 millimeter shall be maintained between communication wires and cables on buildings and lighting conductors. Next, protection, protective devices, application, a listed primary protector shall be provided on each circuit run partly or entirely in aerial wire or aerial cable, not confined within a block. Also, listed primary protector shall be provided on each circuit, aerial or underground, located within the block containing the building served to be exposed to accidental contact with electric light or power conductors operating at over 300 volts to the ground. Next, cable grounding. The metallic sheet of communication cables entering buildings shall be grounded as close as practicable to the point of entrance or shall be interrupted as close to the point of entrance as practicable by an insulating joint or equivalent device. Next, grounding methods, cable and primary protector grounding. The metallic members of the cable sheet were required to be grounded by 8.0.3.4 and primary protectors. A. Grounding conductor consists of insulation, material, size, length, run in a straight line, physical damage. So first, in insulation, the grounding conductor shall be insulated and shall be listed as suitable for purpose. Uh, Next, material, the grounding conductor shall be copper or other corrosion resistant conductive material, stranded or solid. Next, size, the grounding conductor shall not be smaller than 2.0 millimeter squared. And next, length, the primary protector grounding conductor shall be as short as practicable in one and two family dwellings. The primary protector grounding conductor shall be as short as practicable not to exceed 6,000 millimeter in length. So next, number 5, run in a straight line. The grounding conductor shall be run to the grounding electrode in as straight a line as practicable. And lastly, 6, physical damage. Where necessary, the grounding conductor shall be guarded against physical damage. Where the grounding the conductors is run in a metal raceway. Both ends of the raceway shall be bonded to the grounding conductor or the same terminal or electrode to which the grounding conductor is connected. So next, 8.0.5, communication wires and cables within buildings. So this article, raceways for communication wires and cables. Where communication wires and cables are installed in a raceway, the raceway shall be of a type permitted in Chapter 3 or a listed non-metallic raceway complying where the requirements applicable to electrical non-metallic tubing apply. So next, installation and marking of communication wires and cables. This article listed communication wires and cables and listed multipurpose cables shall be installed as wiring within buildings. Communication cables and other under carpet communication wires, the cable voltage rating shall not be marked on the cable or the under carpet communication wire. Next, installation of communication wires, cables, and equipment. Communication wires and cables from the protector to the equipment or where no protector is required. Communications wires and cables attached to the outside or inside of the building. A. Separation from other conductors. For B. Cable trays. C. Support of conductors. And D. Wiring in ducts for dust, loose stock, or vapor removal. The next, application of listed communication wires and cables and communication raceway communication wires and cables where cable substitution are made. So letter A, plenum. B, riser, distributing frames and cross connect arrays, cable trays, other wiring within buildings. So next, drop wire and cable. This article communication wires and cables without a metallic shield running from the last outdoor support to the primary protector shall be listed as being suitable for the purpose and shall have a current carrying capacity. So next, communication wires and cables. Communication wires and cables shall have a voltage rating of not less than 300 volts and conductors in communication cables other than in a coaxial cable shall be copper. So A, type CMP used for environmental air. Next B, type CMR being suitable for use in a vertical run in a shop or from floor to floor. Next, C, type CMG general purpose communication use. Then yung D, type CM suitable for general purpose communication use. Then E, type CMX choose in dwellings and for use in raceway. Type CMUC under carpet wire and cable, under carpet communication wire and cable. G multi-purpose cables, CMP, CMR, CMG, and CM. H communication circuit integrity cable ensure survivability of critical circuits. Letter I, communication wires, distributing frame wire and jumper wire. Next, J, hybrid power and communication cable, power and communication cable, power and communication cable. Next, communication raceway, this article communication raceway. Letter A, plenum communication raceway. Uh, plenum communication raceway, a plenum cable routing assemblies shall be listed as uh, having adequate fire resistance and low smoke producing characteristic. So next, letter B, riser communication raceway. Riser communication raceway and riser cable routing assemblies shall be listed as having adequate fire resistant characteristics capable of preventing the carrying of fire from floor to floor. Next, general purpose communication raceway. Um, general purpose cable routing assemblies and general purpose communications raceway shall be listed as being resistant to the spread of fire. So next, Article 8.10, radio and television equipment. This article covers antenna system for radio and television receiving equipment, amateur radio transmitting and receiving equipment, and certain features of transmitter safety. This article covers antennas such as multi-element, vertical rod, and dish, and also covers the wiring and cabling that connects them to equipment. This article does not cover equipment and antennas used for coupling carrier current to power line conductors. So next, radio noise suppressors, radio interference eliminators, interference capacitors or noise suppressors connected to power supply. Leads shall be of a listed type. They shall not be exposed to physical damage. Receiving equipment, antenna system, 8.10.2.1 material, antennas and lead-in conductors shall be of hard-drawn copper bronze, aluminum alloy, copper clad steel, or other high-strength corrosion and resistant material. So next, supports, outdoor antennas and lead-in conductors shall be securely supported. Next, article 8.10.2.3, avoidance of contacts with conductors of other system. So, this article, outdoor antennas and lead-in conductors from an antenna to the building shall not cross over open conductors of electric light or power circuits and shall be kept well away from all such circuits to avoid the possibility of accidentally contact. Next natin, splices. Splices and joints in antenna spans shall be made mechanically secure with approved splicing devices or by such other means as will not appreciably weaken the conductors. Grounding, mass and metal structures supporting antennas shall be grounded. So next, size of wiring, wire strung antenna receiving station. A, size of antenna conductors. Um, for this table, per size of antenna per conductors shall be not less than 22 millimeter. Then letter B, self-supporting antennas. Outdoor antennas such as vertical rods, dishes, or dipole structures. Next, size of lead in receiving station. Lead in conductors from outside antennas for receiving station shall for various maximum open span lengths be of size as to have a tensile strength at least as great as that of the conductors for antennas. 8.10.2.8 clearance receiving station. A. Outside of buildings, lead-in conductors attached to buildings. B. Antennas and lead-ins. Indoor antennas and indoor lead-ins shall not be run nearer than 50 millimeter to conductors of other wiring system in the premises. Letter C. In boxes or other enclosures, indoor antennas and indoor lead-ins shall be permitted to occupy the same box or enclosure with the conductors of other wiring system were separated from such other conductors by an effective permanently installed barrier. Next, Article 8.10.2.9, electric supply circuits used instead of antenna, receiving station where an electric supply circuit is used instead of antenna, the device by which the radio receiving set is connected to supply circuit shall be listed. Next, 8.10.2.10 antenna discharge unit receiving station where required each conductor of lead in from an outdoor antenna shall be provided with a listed antenna discharge unit. Letter B, location. Antenna discharge unit shall be located outside the building or inside the building between the point of entrance of the lead-in and the radio set or transformers. Letter C, grounding. The antenna discharge unit shall be grounded by 8.10.2.11. So next, amateur transmitting and receiving station antenna system, size of lead-in conductors. Wait. Lead-in conductors for transmission station shall for various maximum span lengths be of a size at least as great as that of conductors for antennas. Next, clearance on building. Antenna conductors per transmitting station attached to buildings shall be firmly mounted at least 75 millimeter clear of the surface of the building on non-absorbent insulating support such as treated pins or brackets equipped with insulators having not less than 75 millimeter creepage and air gap distances lead-in conductors attached to the building shall also comply with this requirement. Entrance to building except were protected with a continuous metallic shield that is permanently and effectively grounded lead-in conductors for transmitting station shall enter buildings. So next, Article 8.10.3.6 protection against accidental contact lead-in conductors to radio transmittal shall be located or installed to make accidental contact with them difficult. So next, antenna discharge unit transmitting station. Each conductor of a lead-in for outdoor antennas shall be provided with an antenna discharge unit or other suitable means that will drain static charges from the antenna system. So next, grounding conductors, amateur transmitting and receiving station. This article, grounding conductors, letter A. Other sections, all grounding conductors for amateur transmitting and receiving stations shall comply with 8.10.2.11 through 8.10.2.11. So, letter B, size of protective grounding conductors. He protective grounding conductor for transmitting stations shall be as large as the lead-in but not smaller than 5.5 millimeter. Copper bronze or copper clad steel size of operating grounding conductors. The operating grounding conductor from transmitting station shall not be less than 2 millimeter squared. Game. So next, 8.10.1.21 access to electrical equipment behind panels designed to allow access. Access to electrical equipment shall not be denied by an accumulations of wires and cables that prevents removal of panels including suspended ceiling panels. Next, mechanical execution of work. Community antenna, television and radio distribution system shall be installed in a neat and workmanlike manner. Next, underground circuit, entering buildings, underground system, underground coaxial cables in a duct, pedestal, handhole enclosure, or manhole that contains electric light or power conductors. Or class 1, circuit shall be in a section permanently separated from such conductors using a suitable barrier. Letter B, direct buried cables and raceways. Direct buried coaxial cable shall be separated at least 300 millimeter from conductors of any light or power or class 1 circuit. Next, protection. This article, grounding of outer conductive shield of a coaxial cable. This outer conductive shield of the coaxial cable shall be grounded at the building premises as close to the point of cable entrance or attachment as practicable. Next, equipment grounding. Unpowered equipment and enclosure or equipment powered by the coaxial cable shall be considered grounded where connected to the metallic cable shield. So next, banding and grounding at mobile homes. Letter A, grounding. Where there is no mobile home service equipment located inside from and not more than 9,000 millimeter from the exterior wall of the mobile home it serves, or there is no mobile home disconnecting means grounded in accordance with 2.50.2.13 and located with the within sight from and none more than 9,000 millimeter from the exterior wall of the mobile homes in serves. The coaxial cable shield ground or surge arrestor ground shall be in accordance with 8.24.4.1. B. Banding the coaxial cable shield grounding terminal surge arrestor grounding terminal or grounding electrode shall be banded to the metal frame or available grounding terminal of the mobile home with a copper grounding conductor not smaller than 3.5 millimeter squared. So next, Article 8.20.5 cables within buildings. Raceway for coaxial cables. Where coaxial cables are installed in a raceway, the raceway shall be either of a type permitted in Chapter 3 and installed by Chapter 3 or a listed non-metallic raceway. So next, listing requirement, coaxial cables, type C, CAT-PB, community antenna television plenum cable used for environmental air. Letter B, type CATBR, riser cable used in a vertical run in a shop or from floor to floor. Next, type CATB, community antenna television cables, general purpose. Letter D, type CATBX, limited use in dwellings and for use in raceway. CATB raceways. For A, plenum CATB raceways. Plenum CATB raceways shall be listed for use in other spaces, used for environmental air, and shall also be listed as having adequate fire resistance and low smoke producing characteristic. Letter B, riser CATB, raceway riser CATB. Raceways shall be listed for use in risers and shall also be listed as having adequate fire resistance characteristic capable of preventing the carrying of fire from floor to floor. Next, general purpose CATV raceways. General purpose CATV raceways shall be listed as suitable for general purpose use and shall also be listed as being resistant to the spread of fire. Next, Article 8.30 Network Powered Broadband Communication System. Scope. This article covers network powered broadband communication system that provide any combination of voice, audio, video, data, and interactive services through a network interface unit. So next tayo. Mechanical execution of work. Network powered broadband communication circuit and equipment shall be installed in a neat and workmanlike manner. Cables installed exposed on the surface of ceilings and sidewalls shall be supported by by the building structure in such a manner that the cable will not be damaged by normal building use. Such cables shall be secured by straps, staples, hangers, or similar fittings designed and installed so as not to damage the cable. Next, cable cables outside and entering buildings. This article, entrance cables, cables installed outdoors shall be listed as suitable for application. In addition, network-powered broadband communication cables are located outside and entering buildings. So A, medium power circuit, medium power network, powered broadband communication circuit located outside and entering buildings shall be installed using type BMU, type BM, or type BMR. Network powered broadband communication medium power cables. Letter B, sa low power circuit, low power network, powered broadband communication circuit located outside and entering buildings shall be installed using type BLU or type BLX, low power network powered broadband communication cables. So next, aerial cables, aerial network powered broadband communication cables. Letter A, on poles, where practicable network powered broadband and communication cables on poles shall be located below the electric light, power, and B, climbing space. The climbing space through network-powered broadband communication cables. Letter C, lead-in clearance, lead-in aerial drop network-powered broadband communications, cables from a pole or other support, including the point of initial attachment to a building or structure, shall be kept away from electric light, power, or non-power limited per alarm circuit conductors to avoid the possibility of accidental contact. D. Clearance from ground overhead spans of network powered broadband communication cables. Uh, this is number 1 to 2,900 millimeter above finish grade sidewalks, or from any platform of projection from which they might be reached and accessible to pedestrians only. Number 2, 3.5 millimeter over residential property and driveways. Next, number 3, 4,700 millimeter over public street, alleys, roads, and parking areas subject to traffic, driveways on other than residential property and other land traversed by vehicles such as cultivated grazing forest and orchard. Letter E, over pools, clearance of network-powered broadband communication cable in any direction from the water level, edge of pool, the base of the diving platform or anchored raft. F. Above roofs, network-powered broadband communication cable shall have a vertical clearance of not less than 2,400 millimeter from all points of roofs above which they pass. Sure. Then lastly, 8.30.2.8 underground circuit entering buildings. A. Underground system, underground network, powered broadband communication cables in a duct pedestal, handhole enclosure, or manhole that contains electric light, power conductors, non-power limited fire alarm, circuit conductors, or class 1 circuits shall be in a section permanently separated from such conductors by means of suitable barrier. Letter B, direct buried cables and raceways. Direct buried network powered broadband communications cables shall be separated at least 300 millimeter from conductors of any light, power and power limited fire alarm circuit conductors or class 1 circuits. Letter C, mechanical protection, the direct buried cable, conduit or other raceways shall be installed to meet the minimum cover requirements of Table 8.30.2.28. In addition, direct buried cables emerging from the ground shall be protected by enclosure raceways or other approved means extending from the minimum cover distance. So that's all po. This is the chapter 8 of communication system, and next reporter na po. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is John Michael B. Quidayan. My topic for today is all about Philippine Electrical Code 1, Chapter 9, Watercraft. Article 9.1, General Conditions and Requirements. 9.1.1.1, Purpose. The purpose of this chapter is to establish the requirements for the construction, installation, operation, and maintenance of the electrical propulsion machinery, electrical equipment, and wiring systems for watercrafts. Next, 9.1.1.2 Scope. This chapter covers electrical equipment and wiring installed. The next one is 9.1.1.3 Definitions. Under definitions are the dangerous space, grounded system, grounding plate, steering gear, steering gear auxiliary, steering gear main, and steering gear control system remote. And the last one is 9.1.1.4 Classification of watercraft. Watercrafts are classified as liners or carriers according to type, purpose and service, and place of operation as for international, short international, coastwise, bay and lake or river sea operations. This includes the following: passenger ship or ferry boat, cargo vessels, vessels for carriage, ships, yacht for pleasure use, exposed ship and watercraft for amusement, fishing boat, floating power plant barge, training or hospital ship, fireboat for firefighting, and etc. 9.1.2 Electrical plants and specification. 9.1.2.1 General. Electrical plans and specifications shall be prepared in accordance with the provision of this article. 9.1.2.2 Application. Electrical plans and specifications shall apply to new, existing, additional, and remodeling installations, including those of watercrafts of foreign construction acquired for Philippine ownership. Next is the plan requirements from 9.1.2.3. Under nito ang mga title block or nameplate. In addition to the requirements of section 1.3.2.2, it shall show name and identification number of watercraft and type of service operation. Then yung isa pang under ng plan requirements ay equipment layout. Layout plans shall show the location or arrangement of the following electrical machineries and equipment on profile and deck plans drawn to scale. Main and emergency generators, accumulator batteries, transformers, power rectifiers and inverters, switchboards, distribution panels, and panel boards, electrical propulsion machineries, motors, steering gear, machineries, lighting fixtures, navigation, lights and navigational instruments, and signaling and communications equipment. Then next yung schematic or one-line diagram. Schematic or one-line diagram shall be for the following: main generator supply, emergency power, electric propulsion, steering gear, navigational light, fire protection, ground protection, shore power supply, and survival crafts. Then next is the wiring plan. Wiring drawings on profile and deck plans drawn to scale shall include the following: power circuits, lighting and receptacle circuits, navigation and communication circuits, instrumentation and control circuits. Next, yung design computations. Design computations or design analysis shall be included on the plans or drawings or may be submitted on separate sheets of uniform size paper. Other one is the schedule of loads. Schedule of loads in tabulated form of power, lighting, and other loads on the system. And yung last one is yung legend. 9.1.2.4 Specification and data requirements. Propulsion machinery, main and emergency generators, and vital motor 100 kilos and over. Complete ratings and class installations. Yeah. Next naman yung main and emergency generators and vital motors below 100 kilowatts rating. And yung last one is yung motor equipment, motor control equipment. Short circuit data. In order to establish that the protective devices on the main switchboard have a sufficient short circuit interrupting capacity, data shall be submitted giving the maximum calculated short circuit current available at the main bus bars. Cable grouping. Data or plan indicating the criteria to be followed on the cable grouping. Then, special equipment. Indicating ratings and classification of service or duty cycle of transformers, inverters, rectifiers, heaters, X-ray apparatus, electric welding equipment. Uh, Next is yung hazardous zones and spaces. An arrangement plan showing the location of electrical equipment in these areas indicating type of equipment, type of protection, temperature rise, certifying authority certificate number, and installation instruction and certification agency restriction for intrinsically safe system. Then meron din tayong low energy and low voltage power installation. Low energy powers and low voltage power installation showing, sorry po sa background, details of battery installation and or other source of low voltage or low energy power equipment, wiring, actuating mechanism, and preventive devices, and ventilation details of battery room. Uh, Lightning protection system. Then yung next niya is drawing. Typical drawing of standard practices and details of cable support and sealing, cable stuffing tubes as pipe, sleeves, and packing glands, cable splicing, bulkhead and deck penetration, and watertight and explosion-proof connections to equipment, and yung last, grounding system. 9.1.2.6 Additional and remodeling plans. Layout and wiring plans for additions or remodeling shall be submitted to the government agency having jurisdiction. 9.1.3 Requirements for electrical installation. 9.1.3.1 Approval required. The conductors, wiring methods, and equipment required by this code shall be acceptable only when approved. 9.1.3.2 Other requirements. Conductors and equipment for installation shall comply with the provisions of Article 1.10 in addition to the general and special requirements provided in this chapter. 9.1.4 General requirements. 9.1.4.1 Location. Electrical equipment shall be so placed or protected as to minimize the probability of mechanical injury or damage from the accumulation of dust, oil, vapor, steam, or dripping liquids. Next is 9.1.4.2 Protection from bilge water. All generators, motors, and electric couplings shall be so arranged that they cannot be damaged by bilge water, and if necessary, a watertight coaming shall be provided to form a well around the base of such equipment, with provisions for removing the water from the well, where power is used for propulsion. The equipment shall be so arranged that it will operate satisfactorily in the event of partial flooding of bilge water above the tank top up to the floor plate level. Next, 9.1.4.3 Accessibility. The design and arrangement of electrical equipment is to provide accessibility to parts requiring inspection or adjustment. Armature and field coils, rotors, and revolving fields shall be removable, and where air ducts are used, there shall be means of access. Next is 9.1.4.4 Watertight equipment. All electrical equipment exposed to the weather or located in spaces where it would be exposed to sea splashing or other severe moisture condition shall be of the watertight type or be protected by means or watertight enclosures, which shall be such as to prevent the exposure of the equipment to temperatures in excess of that for which they have been designed. The next naman po natin is yung materials from 9.1.4.5. In general, all electrical equipment shall be constructed of durable and flame retardant materials. Materials shall be resistant to corrosion, moisture, high and low temperatures, and shall have qualities necessary to prevent deterioration in the ambient conditions the equipment may be expected to encounter. Next naman is yung 9.1.4.6 Lubricating System. Lubricating system shall not be adversely affected by vibration and shock which in normal operation, and with the water crop inclined from the normal at any angle up to 15 degrees transversely and 10 degrees longitudinally. Next, 9.1.4.7 equipment and cables locations from magnetic compass. Ay, sunod naman yung 9.1.4.8 electrical hardware, 9.1.4.9 insulating materials and insulating winding, 9.1.4.10 hazardous locations, installations and equipments. Yeah. The next naman is yung Article 9.4. Article 9.4 grounding system. 9.4.6.1 lamp indicators. Under ng lamp indicators ang power and lighting systems, excitation circuits. Power and lighting systems. Power and lighting system isolated from a watercraft's main power and lighting distribution by transformers or motor generator shall be provided with a means of detecting grounds. Then, excitation circuits. Excitation circuits shall be provided with lamps, voltmeters, or other means to indicate continuously the state of insulation of the excitation circuits under running conditions. Then, 9.4.6.2 ground leakage detection. Under nito ang main propulsion circuit, automatic opening, ground leakage device, yun, ground leakage devices. 9.4.7 grounding of metal coverings of cables. 9.4.7.1 metal covering cables. Metal covering of cables shall be effectively grounded at both ends of the cable, except in final subcircuits other than those installed in hazardous zones and spaces. 9.4.7.2 electrical continuity. Electrical continuity. The electrical continuity of all metals covering of cables throughout the length of the cable, particularly any joints and tappings, shall be ensured. Engine loss is 9.4.7.3 lead-sheathed cables. The lead-sheathed cables shall not be used as the sole means of grounding the non-current carrying parts of equipment. 9.4.8 Ground continuity. 9.4.8.1 Ground continuity. Means shall be provided for ascertaining that all ground continuity are effective and that the bonding ground and grounding of metallic conduit and or sheathing of metallic conduit and or shedding of cables is effective. 9.4.9 Grounding of metal conduit system. 9.4.9.1 Metal conduit systems. Metal conduit systems shall be grounded and shall be mechanically and electrically continuous across joints. Individual short lengths of conduits need to be grounded. 9.4.10 Grounding pole for receptacle outlets and attachment plugs. 9.4.10.1 Receptacle outlets operating at 50 volts or more shall have a grounding pole. Next naman is 9.4.10.2. Attachment plugs. Attachment plugs for permanently fitted equipment operating at 50 volts or more shall have a grounding pole and grounding conductor in the portable cord to ground the non-current carrying metal parts of the equipment. 9.4.11 Grounding of instruments transformers. 9.4.11.1 Secondary winding. Uh, the secondary windings of instrument transformers shall be grounded. Article 9.5 Lighting Protection System. 9.5.1.1 Requirement. Lighting conductors shall be provided for the following watercrafts. 9.5.1.2 Construction. Under construction is are wooden mast or topmast, steel mast or topmast, steel ships, size of the lightning conductor, resistant of the lightning conductor. Next naman is yung 9.5.1.3 Protection of sailboats of non-metallic. Under niya is yung sailboats, open day sailors, cruising sailboats. Next, 9.5.1.4 Protection of small watercrafts. Small watercrafts may be protected by means of a temporary lightning protective mast, which shall be erected when lightning conditions are observed in the distance. Grounding provision shall be made by means of flexible copper tape or rope of not less than 80 millimeters squared across sectional area to a copper plate of 0.093 meters squared exposed area. Article 9.6 Distribution System Protection. Distribution and Circuit Protection. 9.6.1.1 Watercraft Structure. The watercraft structure shall not be used as a normal current carrying conductor for power, heating, and lighting system. 9.6.1.2 Current carrying part not be grounded. No current carrying part of an insulated distribution system shall be grounded, other than through components used for the suppression of radio interference. 9.6.1.3 Hull return. Hull return shall not be used in tankers, tank ships, or supertankers, and for tank vessels for carriage of dangerous cargoes, and in passengers and cargo ships. Next, yung 9.6.1.4 Short circuit protection. Short circuit protection shall be provided in each energized pole of DC system and in each phase of an AC system. 9.6.1.5 Overload protection. Overload protection shall be provided in two-wire DC or single-phase AC system at least one line or phase. Second one is insulated three-phase AC system at least three phases. And the last one is grounded three-phase AC system, all three phases. Uh, we also have 9.6.1.6 No fuse, non-link, non-link switch or non-link circuit breaker, 9.6.1.7 Main distribution circuit protection. 9.6.1.8 Motor circuit protection. 9.6.1.9 Light Lighting circuit protection. 9.6.1.10 Power transformer primary circuit protection. 9.6.1.11 Instruments protection. 9.6.1.1 Capacitor circuit protection. 9.6.1.13 Power circuits and lighting circuits. So, next naman natin is 9.6.2 Diversity factor. 9.6.2.1 Application of diversity factor. Circuits supplying two or more final sub-circuits shall be rated in accordance with the total connected load subject were justified to the application of diversity factor. Next is 9.6.2.2 for cable sizing and rating of switchgear and fuse gear. The diversity factor shall be applied to the calculation for size of cable and rating of switchgear and fuse gear. Then 9.6.2.3 for winches. For winches, the diversity factor shall be calculated. 9.6.3 Through feed arrangements. 9.6.3.1 General, where a feeder supplies more than one distribution board or panel board, it may be continuous from the switchboard to the farthest panel, or it may be served at any intermediate panel. 9.6.4 Lighting circuits. 9.6.4.1 Rating. A final subcircuit of rating exceeding 15 A 15 ampere is not to supply more than 1 point. Yan. 9.6.4.2 In machinery spaces. Lighting for machinery spaces, control stations, and workspaces shall be supplied from at least two final subcircuits and from the emergency system in such a way that failure of any one of the circuits does not leave the space in darkness. 9.6.4.3 In hazardous areas. Next is yung 9.6.4.4 in unattended spaces and 9.6.4.5 in pump rooms. Next naman is 9.6.5 unbalanced load. 9.6.5.1 Three-wire DC systems. And yung isa naman, three-wire ay unbalanced loads between an outer conductor and the middle wire at the switchboards, section boards, and distribution boards is not exceed 15% of the full load current as much as possible. 9.6.5.2 Three-wire AC system. Unbalanced load on each phase at the switchboard section, boards, and distribution boards is not exceed 15% of full load current as much as possible. 9.6.6 Branch circuit. Under branch circuits is 9.6.6.1 Branch circuits. All circuits shall be protected at panel board only, and any reduction in conductor size shall be protected. 9.6.7 Motor circuits. 9.6.7.1 Sub-circuit. A separate final sub-circuit shall be provided for every motor required for essential services, and for non-essential services, having a full load current rating of 6 amperes or more. 6.7.2 Ampacity. The motor circuit shall have an ampacity of not less than 100% of the motor full load current rating. And last one, 9.6.7.3 Conductor size. No motor circuit shall have conductors less than 2.0 millimeters squared. 9.6.8 Essential services. 9.6.8.1 Essential services. Essential services are those services, together with the power sources for supplying them, necessary for the propulsion and safety of the watercraft, such as the following: air compressors, air compressor for heavy oil engines, air pumps, bilge pumps, circulating and cooling water pumps, condenser circulating pumps, extraction pumps, and so on and so forth. 9.6.9 Circuits in vicinity of magnetic compass. 9.6.9.1 Apparatus and wiring connections. Precautions. Yan. Precautions shall be taken in connection with apparatus and wiring in the vicinity of the magnetic compass to prevent disturbance of the needle from external magnetic field. Next is 9.6.10 Watercraft Service Power Circuits. 9.6.10.1 Segregation of vital circuits. Next, 9.6.10.2 Independently supplied circuits. 9.6.10.3 Power feeders to be disconnected. 9.6.10.4 Drainage pumps. 9.6.10.5 Cargo spaces. 9.6.11 Distribution circuits for passengers service. 9.6.11.1 Arrangement on watercraft for passenger service constructed with fire screen bulkheads forming fire zones. Distribution circuit shall be so arranged that fire in any main fire zone will not interfere with essential services in any other fire zone. Next naman is 9.6.12 Ventilating system. Under the ventilating system or 9.6.12.1 cargo ventilating fans, 9.6.12.2 cargo and accommodation ventilation systems. Under ng 9.6.12.2 ang first emergency stop station and second emergency stop station. Next naman is 9.6.12.3 close recirculation system. 9.6.12.4 machinery space ventilating systems. 9.6.12.5 remote emergency stop stations. 9.6.12.6 stop for each control switch, and last one is 9.6.12.7 under voltage protection type. 9.6.13 steering gear. 9.6.13.1 electric and electro-hydraulic steering gear. Electric and electro-hydraulic steering gears shall be served by two circuits from the watercraft's service switchboard. Next naman is 9.6.13.2. One circuit from emergency switchboard. 9.6.13.3 circuits. 9.6.13.4 ampacity. 9.6.14 shore connection. 9.6.14.1 installation of connection boxes. 9.6.14.2 connection boxes. 9.6.14.3 cables between connection box and switchboard. 9.6.15 emergency systems. 9.6.15.1 feeders. Under feeders are watercraft with fire screen bulkhead forming fire zones, emergency feeders, emergency cables, separate emergency lighting feeders, separate emergency feeder. Next naman is 9.6.16 navigation lights. Under of navigation lights are 9.6.16.1 final subcircuits of navigation lights, 9.6.16.2 control and protection, 9.6.16.3 regarded as an extension to the main switchboard, 9.6.16.4 automatic indicator, 9.6.16.5 provision, 9.6.17 lighting feeders, 9.6.17.1 watercraft for passenger service, 9.6.17.2 requirements, 9.6.7.3 daylight signaling lamp circuit, 9.6.7.4 feeder circuit for radio transceiver, 9.6.17.5 internal communication equipment, 9.6.17.6 exit lights, and so forth. 9.6.18 branch lighting circuits. 9.6.18.1 general branch lighting circuits shall be protected by overcurrent protective devices rating or set at not more than 30 amperes. For detail, refer to Article 3.1. 9.6.19 pilot ladders. 9.6.19.1 illumination means shall be provided to illuminate pilot ladders at night. Next, 9.6.20 call bell circuits. 9.6.20.1 call bell circuit. Call bell circuits shall be run in suitable tubing or molding, but when passing through crew's quarters or workspaces where they are subject to mechanical injury, they shall be run in conduit. 9.6.21 oil pump rooms and spaces adjoining oil tanks. 9.6.21.1 oil pump rooms and spaces adjoining oil tanks. Oil pump rooms and spaces immediately adjoining oil tanks shall be lighted by lamps wired entirely with explosion-proof wiring or with lead covered armored cable run through gas-tight fittings having stuffing glands at inlet and outlet. 9.6.22 Motor of 0.25 horsepower or more and apparatus of more than 660 volt amperes. 9.6.22.1 Connection to lighting circuit not permitted. Next is 9.6.23 receptacle outlets. Under receptacle outlets ay ang mga 9.6.23.1 watertight receptacle outlets, 9.6.23.2 non-watertight receptacle outlets, and 9.6.23.3 number of receptacle outlets. 9.6.24 Lighting fixtures. 9.6.24.1 General requirements. Under of general requirements ay ang mga permanent watertight lighting fixtures, mm, open open air lamps, fixture globes, incandescent lamps, lighting fixtures, construction or installation, and last one is not to be used as connection boxes. 9.6.24.2 Lighting fixture, installation and construction. Under naman ito ang exposed to weather, in wet or damp location, covered with non-combustible material, outlet cover, support, and pendant fixture. 9.6.25 Grounding of lighting equipment. 9.6.25.1 To be grounded. And lighting equipment, including fixtures, shall be grounded. 9.6.25.2 Considered grounded. Lighting equipment shall be considered as grounded when mechanically connected in a permanent and effective manner to the metal structure of the watercraft, the armor of armored cable, or a grounding connector. 9.6.26 Final subcircuits. 9.6.26.1 Motor circuits, and 9.6.26.2 Final subcircuits for lighting. Under ng 9.6.26.2 ang lighting fitting supplies, final subcircuit of rating 15 amperes or less, for panel lighting and electric signs, heater connection, and yun. 9.6.27 Circuit protection. Uh, under ng ano, circuit protection ng mga 9.6.27.1 general, 9.6.27.2 system protection, 9.6.27.3 overcurrent protection devices, 9.6.27.4 motor branch circuits, 9.6.27.5 transformer circuits, 9.6.27.6 motor running protection, and yan. 9.6.28 protection of watercraft service generators. 9.6.28.1 general, 9.6.28.2 AC generators. AC generators, alternating current, also known as alternating current generator circuit breakers shall be provided with short time delay trips, except that For generators with capacity of less than 200 kilowatts, having prime movers such as diesel engines or gas turbines, which operates independently of the electrical system. Consideration will be given to elimination of the requirement for short-time delay trips if instantaneous and long-time delay trips are provided. Next is 9.6.28.3 DC generators. Direct current generator circuit breakers shall be provided with an instantaneous strip set below the generator maximum short circuit current. This strip shall be set at the lowest value of current, which will coordinate with the trip settings of feeder circuit breakers supplied by the generator. Next now is 9.6.28.4 protective device trippings. 9.6.28.5 generator circuits for parallel operation. Next natin is 9.6.29 three-wire dual voltage DC system. 9.6.29.1 three-wire DC generators. 9.6.29.2 neural grounding. 9.6.29.3 size of neutral conductor. Then next is 9.6.30 steering gear circuits. 9.6.30.1 feeders. 9.6.30.2 protection. 9.6.30.3 emergency power supply for steering gear. 9.6.30.4 control, instrumentation, and alarms. 9.6.31 AC propulsion circuits. 9.6.31.1 general. 9.6.32 DC propulsion circuits. 9.6.32 protection. 9.6.33 propulsion excitation. 9.6.33.1 excitation circuits. 9.6.33.2 excitation supply service generator connection. Participation fee sa insurance. Ha? Oo nga, may participation fee kayo. 9.6.34 AC three-phase system. 9.6.31.4 general. Next naman is 9.6.35 electric depth sounding devices and impressed current cathodic protection. 9.6.35.1 electric depth sounding devices. 9.6.35.2 impressed current cathodic protection. Uh, Article 9.7 lighting fittings, heating appliances, and wiring accessories. 9.7.1 general. 9.7.1.1 requirements. Lighting fittings, heating appliances, and wiring accessories shall comply with the provision in other chapter of this code insofar as applicable, in addition with the requirements in this article. 9.7.2 lighting fittings. 9.7.2.1 construction and location. Under ng ano is yung enclosure composition, terminal box and the leading in part of cables and protection. 9.7.2.2 fluorescent lighting fittings. Under naman ito ang mounting, protection, installation, and yan. Article 9.8 switchboard sections, and distribution boards. Pinapakita naman dito sa yung sa table 9.8.1.4 yung rear clear working space and yung potential between phase or conductors of opposing polarity, switchboard width, and yung clear working space in rear of switchboard in millimeters. Pag one end only and kapag two ends. Article 9.9. Uh, Article 9.9 Sources of electrical power. 9.9.1.1 Propulsion use. 9.9.1.2 Various service use. 9.9.1.1.3 Emergency use. 9.9.1.4 Transitional use in emergency. Uh, 9.1.1.5 Charger or alternator. 9.9.1.6 Shore power. Article 9.10 Generators. 9.10.3.2 wait lang po. Yun. DC generators. Where automatic voltage regulators are not supplied, the DC generator shall be approximately flat compounded except that if the load fluctuation does not interfere with the operation of essential auxiliaries, shunt wound generators without voltage regulators or stabilized shunt wood machines may be used. 9.10.3.3 AC generators. Under naman ng AC generators ang voltage regulators and short circuit conditions. Article 9.11 Transformers. Under naman ito ang 9.11.1.2 Number and ratings of transformers. 9.11.1.3 Type of cooling. 9.11.4 Windings of transformers. Under ng windings of transformers ang moisture, sea atmosphere, and oil vapors. Next naman is yung double winding transformers. 9.11.1.5 Precautions against short circuit current. Article 9.13 Motors, motor circuit, and controllers. Dito naman pinapakita yung Table 9.13.3.1 Maximum allowable temperature for rotating machine. Yung part of machine, Class A installations, Class E installations, Class B installations, Class F installations, and Class H installations. Article 9.17 Control gears. Dito naman po yung table 9.17.1.4 Minimum clearance and creepage for control gears. Nandito po yung rated voltage between uninsulated energized parts of opposite polarity. Andyan yung clearance and creepage. Under na clearance is yung not over 25 amperes and over 25 amperes. Same as naman sa creepage. Next naman is yung between uninsulated energized parts and grounded metals. Kung yung isa naman is opposite polarity, dito naman ay grounded metals. Same lang sila ng ano, clearance and yung creepage niya. Ito naman yung letter B ng Table 9.17.1.4. Minimum clearance and creepage for small control gears naman. Article 9.19 Explosion-proof electrical equipment. Under naman ito ang 9.19.1.2 Kind of explosion-proof construction. Diyan yung flame-proof type, intrinsically safe type, increased safety type, and pressurized protected type. Article 9.27 Mobile offshore oil drilling rig or production platform and habitat unit. 9.27.2.1 Main source of electrical power. 9.27.2.2 Paralleling and controlling methods of generated power by the main generator sets. 9.27.2.3 Protective and controlling devices. 9.27.2.4 Backup and emergency source of electrical power. 9.27.2.5 Diesel generators as the emergency source of electrical power, and so on and so forth. Article 9.28 Emergency Electrical Equipment. Yan yung 9.28.1.3 Common boundaries of emergency power source, compartment, and adjoining spaces. 9.28.1.4 Type and capacity of emergency source of electric power. 9.28.1.5 Period of time. 9.28.1.6 Emergency lights. 9.28.1.7 Emergency lighting and power loads arrangements. Dito naman pinapakita yung table 9.28.1.4 Type and capacity of emergency sources of electric power. Diyan yung size of vessels in service, type of emergency source of power, period of operation, and minimum capacity of emergency source of power. Article 9.29 High voltage electrical installation. 9.29.1.2 Distribution systems. 9.29.1.3 Three-wire insulated system. And yung 9.29.1.4 Four-wire insulated system. Article 9.30 Shipboard, automatic and remote electrical or electronic control systems. 9.30.1.3 Control systems. 9.30.1.4 Environmental condition. 9.30.1.5 Manual operation. 9.30.1.6 Fail-safe, and 9.30.1.7 Protection for main engine. Article 9.31 Navigation, communication, signaling, and alarm equipment. Next naman is yung Article 9.32 Shipboard wiring systems. Pinapakita dito yung table ng 9.32.2.1 types of cables installations. Pati yung table 9.32.2.2 na minimum average thickness of type E insulation and nylon. Diyan yung sa unang table, makita yung type designations, cable installations, and maximum conductor temperature na naka-degree Celsius. Yung sa isang table naman, dito nakalagay yung conductor size, type T insulation thickness, and nylon jacket thickness. Article 9.33 Additional requirements for watercrafts carrying hazardous cargoes. Next is Article 9.34 Additional requirements for RO watercrafts. Yeah, Article 9.35, dyan na yung mga tables. So, Table 9.35.1.1, cables and flexible cords for watercrafts. Dito makikita yung types of cables, symbol, and refer to cable. Next is Table 9.35.1.1. 660 voltage single core. Yan. Butyl rubber insulated polyvinyl chloride sheeted and steel wire braided cable. Dito yung number of cores. May conductor, under na conductor ang nominal section area, millimeter squared, number and diameter of wires, millimeter, diameter, millimeter. Tapos andito niya, nominal diameter over shed and the diameter of metal wire for braid and so on and so forth. Next table. Ayan, dito naman pinapakita kapag double core. Kasi kung makikita nyo yung una, single core lang. Dito naman is double core. And yun, for the last table naman is, ang ano naman is dito is 3 core ang ginamit. Hanggang dito na lang po yung report ko. Thank you po. Sana may naintindihan po kayo.